Guys, well, I thought it was time that I tackle another long-standing statement on my channel, and that's to talk about Stargate Atlantis. I've kind of alluded to my thoughts on this show in a couple of my other videos, so you do have a bit of an idea of what I think. Before I delve into the show, I need to talk about where I stand with the Stargate franchise. I have seen the movie with Kurt Russell and whoever the other guy is. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name. And I did find myself liking the movie. I have not seen SG-1, and I do have an interest, but it's not too high on the list of shows to check out. I'm not opposed to checking it out, though. I've heard that Stargate Universe is a pretty, less liked show in comparison to the other shows, so I wasn't really going to bother with that. How did I discover this show? Well, I saw an episode where the gang is up against the general guy from the Philosians, I think they're called. It's the one where Shepard and everyone are in the pit trying to place the 9 tiles in the Brotherhood of 15, you know, where every 3 row, horizontal, vertical, and diagonally equals 15. So that's how I discovered the show, and once I figured out what it was, I just found myself having an interest in checking the show out. I got the complete series box set, and I ended up marathoning the seasons in a couple of months because it turned out to be such an interesting show. And I really liked how relatable it felt, because it felt like this was in the future, but not a too distant future. The way they played it out, it could easily be going on right now, from when I'm recording this. Not so much back then when they made the show, okay? And, how did I feel about the humor? I love the humor, because without the humor, this show would be a lot more boring, I think, than a couple of other people claim it is. And the characters, man, did they interact real good together. Yes, it got way dang repetitive, and a couple of the people that start out as like the arrogant people doubting the team's actions but come to appreciate what the team is doing, it did get annoying, but I felt like it was a lot more needed for this show than other shows. And I liked how the show had a couple of well-known people, at least to me, because we had Mitch Pileggi, the narrator for Magic's Greatest Secrets finally revealed. I gotta talk about that at some point, a little bit more. And X-Files. Then you've also got the guy who plays Trip in Starship Enterprise, more on him later, and there was... Oh yeah, there was Winchester from MASH, acting as the leader of the Replicants, there we go. So that was pretty interesting, and that's really all I can talk about, just general statements. So now let's talk about the show more in depth. I break it up into 3 groups. Seasons 1 through 3, even though stuff does change in those seasons. 4, and then season 5. Okay, so seasons 1 through 3 are mostly the episodic seasons, even though themes do start to kind of come and creep into those seasons. I really enjoyed them because it had so many interesting plots that they had, you know, the battles with the Wraith, which was a pretty menacing threat. The Philosians, I think they were called. I'm sorry, it's been so long since I saw the show. I finished it at least 8 months ago. And then just any other enemies that they had, it was pretty interesting, and I love the also gradual discovery of the Atlantean culture. That was pretty good. And those cliffhangers that they have for these seasons, man. I'm really impressed they were able to do such clever writing to get themselves out of that. Then the transitions of characters, well, the black guy, I'm sorry, I forget his name, I didn't really mind killing him off because, I think that he was the obvious choice to go if they ever kill off one of the main characters, but it kind of got annoying in that they killed him off, I think, 2 or 3 times. You kind of dragged it on a little more than you needed to. And then also having his final, what turned out to be his final death, be a cliffhanger, not a big fan of that. But bringing in Ronin, Originally, I wasn't as big of a fan of him, but as more time went on in the show, I find that I support him. Yes, of course, obviously, I had more time with him, but that's just the way it is, okay? Then killing off the Doctor, well, eventually you do have to kill off a more major character that a lot of us will like, and it will be a lot less expected. I mean, like, we had no warning that he was going to die, then he just dies. That hit home. I actually almost cried. Because I think I mentioned this in a couple of my other videos. It's a weakness I have. I can be sad for many characters and feel like crying, but I can never really bring myself to cry anymore. And I don't think it's just that I'm too jaded. It could be that I just naturally stop myself from crying. But, you know, there are times where I want to cry. When Matt's father died, when Elektra's father died, when Bruce Willis blew himself up in Armageddon, you know? So it's stuff like that. And, what else can I mention? I can't remember if the replicants appeared in the end of Season 3 or Season 4, but bits of, like, with what the people back at the base were, like, thinking about, you know, taking over the Atlantean team, even though I kind of already mentioned this, that was pretty annoying. Now, moving on to Season 4, I liked this season for many reasons, because, the season did, start the show's trend of, what was the way I described this? Oh yeah, more recurring story arcs and making it feel like the huge overall plot of the show stopped being episodic and was just more of finishing along the typical good versus evil battle. I liked it for that, and also I liked how darker it felt, because, like, this is a piss-poor way of describing this, but, okay, have you ever gone outside one day and just felt like the day had a more wintry feeling, but it really isn't that much colder? This kind of felt like that. It kind of felt like this was taking place in a wintry situation. It was darker and stuff like that, so that was interesting. I liked the different stories that involved each different character. Shepard, Elizabeth, whatever her last name is again. Sorry, McKay. Keller, finally. And then what they did with Michael in here, that was nice. But I didn't so much like what they did with the Doctor in here. Sorry, I can't remember his real name, but, like, okay. I know that he acts kind of negative in Voyager for a while, but that felt justified. Here, he was acting real negative, but, like, I hate him. Now, I know we're supposed to hate him, but I don't want to be hating the Doctor. Really, I don't. Heck, when they did the Weakest Link Star Trek episode, I was rooting for him, even though I have no problem with Laval winning, because he was the person after him that I felt could, you know, get the longest, and I felt like it should be these two in the finals. They're the masters, squaring off against each other, but, like, yeah, me against the Doctor, that was not good. So then, character changes. Replacing the Elizabeth character with, that soldier, I can't remember her name. I felt like that was a good move, because I think we all could have seen that she would have died eventually, but also the other person coming in, she was a pretty nice leader. She is more of a military person, but like with the other character, she is able to bond with them since she's interacted with them in the past. She is able to trust them a lot more. Interesting. And then changing the Doctor from Beckett to Keller. I really like this. Now, trust me, I loved Beckett, but I really enjoyed Keller also because the bit where she like grew into her role, that was very interesting to see, and it's actually half thanks to this character that I enjoyed this season so much. Because this season is actually my favorite season of the show. But let me tell you this, the cliffhanger to this season, that was weak. Let me tell you. Oh, a building blows up, and then Shepard and Ronan are buried under 25 feet of rubble. Oh, yeah, we haven't seen that before, huh? They're gonna get out of there with a few minor scratches just before the enemies show up and blow the location to bits, which is exactly what happens. Like we didn't see that coming. Hello? Huh? I can't be the only one who thinks that. Lame. Oh yeah, then the inclusion of Todd, that a Wraith. Very interesting. I was shocked, when we first saw that, he was a Wraith, and had been in that Philosian captivity for like 20 years, at least. And then we move on to Season 5, and this is where the show stopped being as good. Now, I alluded to this in my Supernatural Season 4 video, but in this season, this is where the show, moving from episodic to more recurring themes, darker storylines, and dealing with the characters, really started to fall on its head in pretty much every way, okay? Now, I'll explain what I mean, okay? There's many strong things that I feel for this season, okay? So in this season, it did use recurring themes, but the problem is it reused pretty much every single character situation that was in the previous seasons. I mean, like, they in some way bring back the general guy that they killed off in Season 3. They bring back the replicants in several situations. They bring back the Beckett even after he's dead, and even after they save Beckett, they just keep bringing him back. They keep defeating Michael, but bringing him back, and they're going for issues where, oh, we don't want to trust you, Michael. Okay, you know what, we'll trust you. Oh, and one of them betrays each other. That was so annoying. And then, like, the bits where they are looking for, like, Michael's labs, where he's doing experiments on people, and then we find that he's established these laboratories in some weird places, but the experiments have gone wrong, and then the people have been turned into demons. Oh no, we haven't seen that before! I can't be the only person who thought of this, or Doom? Really? Man, did that get so annoying, all the recurring bits that we had with him. So finally, when they definitively killed him off, I was like, yes! You should have done that ages ago! That was so annoying. And then even worse, they bring back the original leader, but is played by a completely different person, and then they kill her off in basically that very episode. Did you really have to bring her back? Come on! That was so annoying. You did not have to do that. And then the same thing happened with Todd and the trust factor issues. Now, it was interesting to watch, like with Michael, but they're happening over and over and over again. Just stop! And also the development of the characters' story arcs. This season ruined quite a lot of potential for it, because, for instance, there was the love triangle between McKay, Ronan, and Keller. Now, first of all, I don't really like love triangles in any situation, okay, let me tell you, but this love triangle really just wasn't that good. I mean, like, the affection between McKay and Keller came out of basically nowhere, first of all. I mean, like, it all seemed to really start off just as an afterthought, that was written in where Shepard is thrown into the future at the end of Season 4, but going on from that, it just really came out of nowhere. I mean, like, Ronan and Keller, it was alluded to when the base had that blackout situation, and they were both stuck in that area, so that was okay, but, how they went with that, it just wasn't that good, and it just seemed unnecessary. So that created unnecessary friction between the characters, which I didn't really like when they bonded so well in the other seasons, and then Shepard and Taylor they hit the end of the road of the story arcs too, because Shepard in the previous seasons, was growing into the role of leadership of his team, trying to help them survive, have issues between himself and the leader of the Atlantean team, but also with the people that are back on Earth. But in here, it just stops. We got barely any camera time. Well, not camera time, I've watched too many reality shows, but story time with him. Because, like, out of all the main characters, he got the least development and I think the least lines. Unless he's talking with Todd. And then Taylor. Her story arc hit the end of the road too, because after they find her husband, which was really unnecessary to include, her story arc just ended because with her husband there was that several episode long discussion of, you should stay with your husband and child, I want to help you. That created unnecessary friction between Shepard and Taylor, and also the inclusion that Taylor has a husband really hurt the story arc between them, because, okay, come on. Let's be realistic, okay? The other seasons did establish a somewhat of a romantic story arc between Shepard and Taylor, and then it just got shut down, just like that. Now, if it was never acknowledged for the show, I honestly would not have minded it, but the way it went with this, not so much. I didn't really like that. And then the last couple of episodes, and how the show ended up basically finishing off the story arcs that were existing in those episodes, being a season finale and a series finale. It felt completely rushed, for one thing. And then everybody gets a perfectly happy ending with a partner, because Ro then finds that strong soldier out of nowhere. The doctor finds a, at least potential romantic person. And then, like, the bit where, like, okay, Ronan basically died, and then the Wraiths are able to revive him? Oh, come on! Did you have to bring him back? Because two reasons for that. One, we have established that the Wraith can drain life force and put it back, but Ronan had completely died! The Wraith can't bring back the dead, because if they could they have, conceivably brought back other Wraith? Unless I forgot a situation where they couldn't do that. And then number two, it just brought back the perfectly happy ending, because killing him off, it would have added just a little bit more of a realistic thing to it. Yeah. So yeah, I've spent like the past quarter of this video ranting about one season, just that fell apart everywhere. Now, I don't completely hate Season 5, because I would probably rate this, 3 stars on Amazon. And I do rate stuff that I like 3 stars on Amazon, but just, man, what a fall in quality of a show in just one season, Now, not everybody feels this way, and if you like Season 5, hey! Enjoy the show, man, because I enjoyed it too, but just it fell in basically every single way. The repeating story arcs, doing it way too much, where in previous seasons it wasn't that big of a deal. The romantic and story progressions of all the characters just fall flat when they were so great before. A rushed finale, and just... man! Yeah. And I gotta be honest with you, if I had the choice of buying these seasons individually on a Blu-ray or DVD, I strongly would consider not getting the 5th season, tell you the truth. Yeah. So I'm sorry to end this video on a down note, but that's basically how I felt when I was with the show. I was a solid fan, practically zero complaints for the first 4 seasons and a few episodes into season 5. But then once we got to the end of season 5, I was just praying for the show to be over because it had fallen so much. And I'm like, at least end it on a good note, because I knew even before I saw one episode of this season when I started fully watching it that they had canceled it, but they had managed to get a decent finale in, and it was better than what happened with Star Trek Enterprise's finale, even though I haven't seen the entire run of that show. But man, downturn big time. So I think that sums it up. I'm a fan of Stargate Atlantis until I get to season 5, and then the show just fell down way on its head. Man. But despite that, I really hope you enjoyed getting this out of the way, because I had promised you guys this video ages ago, and now I finally did it, so enjoy it.